Ellie explores habitats.
It was a lovely sunny day. Autumn was underway, and the days continued to get shorter. Ellie was excited. She was going to her grandparents' house to play. She always had so much fun there. They had a lovely garden, and she especially loved playing on the swing that her grandfather had hung in the old apple tree for her. She was also taking her best friend with her. Double excitement. She was a happy little girl. Finishing her breakfast, she ran to brush her teeth and get her things ready. Coat? Yes, just in case it rained again. Wellies? Yes, it had been raining and the ground was wet. Mags? Of course. She never went anywhere without her favorite teddy bear. Ellie's mum could not remember how many times Mags had been washed in the washing machine, but she knew it was a lot. Finally, what about Rusty, Ellie's dog? No, he wasn't going this time, as Kai, Ellie's stepdad, had to take him to see the vet that day. The doorbell rang and Kai answered it, opening the door to the happiest, smiling face with the biggest grin. Vishnu, Ellie's best friend, stood there with his wellies and raincoat in hand.
Good morning, Mr. Kai,
He said, and then rushed past him to Ellie. Soon the two children were bouncing up and down excitedly in the hallway. Laughing, Susan, Ellie's mum, gathered up the fallen wellies and coats and bundled them and the happy children into the car. Arriving at Nanny and Papa's, the two children and Mags bundled out of the car and, straight away, Ellie ran to hug her grandparents. After a glass of milk and 2 homemade biscuits, it was off out to play in the garden whilst Papa gardened.
I'm tidying so the garden will be ready when winter comes,
He said, striding from the shed with a fork and spade in his big hands. A short while later, after playing hide and seek, the two, now slightly tired children, sat on the bench, watching as Nanny put some wood in a pile underneath the hedge.
What are you doing, Nanny Cooper?
Vishnu asked. Nanny smiled at the boy.
I'm putting these bits here for insects to snuggle up in.
She replied.
Like a bug hotel.
Ellie cried.
We built one at school last term.
Exactly.
Replied Nanny.
Looking after insects is very important, because they all have such important jobs to do.
Taking the children's hands, she led them to the compost heap and showed them the slugs that were there, happily munching on the potato peelings and old cabbage leaves.
Slugs help to clean up the garden, eating dead leaves, compost and sick or dying plants.
and some of my best flowering, healthy plants,
shouted Papa grumpily. Nanny picked up an earthworm and explained to the two fascinated children how they burrow and tunnel through the soil, loosening it. Just like a fork, thought Ellie. Worms are also an important part of the food chain and a food for other animals, such as moles. Soon, both children were exploring the compost heap and had their hands full of beetles, snails, slugs and worms. After a hand wash and clean up, it was time for lunch, homemade cheese and onion pie, with lettuce and tomatoes that the children had picked from the greenhouse, followed by an apple from the tree. Yum! Afterwards, Papa took out some books about insects and, soon, they were planning a bug hunt. Nanny found 2 pieces of paper and 2 pens, plus 2 tubs with lids that the children could carefully put their favorite bug into. The plan was to write down all the bugs that they'd found, where they had found them, which habitat, and then, carefully capturing their favorite one, bring it back inside to learn more about it. Ellie caught a huge spider and Vishnu a woodlouse. Both children were fascinated by the creatures and, soon, with Papa's help they learned all about them. A little while later, after drawing their bugs, the 2 children carefully returned them to the garden, to the exact same place that they had found them.
So important to return them to their home and family,
said Vishnu solemnly.
Spiders spin webs, and the webs are sticky and catch flies, which the spiders then eat.
Ellie explained to Vishnu.
They don't hurt us. They're predators that eat insects, especially harmful ones, and help to keep them under control so that there aren't too many. They're also food for birds and other small mammals. They live everywhere, but aren't to be afraid of.
even under the sofa.
Said Vishnu naughtily.
Woodlice are fabulous too. They are rubbish collectors. They eat dead or decaying plants and insects. They even have armor plating.
Later, the happy children, munching a slice of warm homemade cake, collected the drawings and showed them to Nanny and Papa. They explained where the bugs lived, their habitats, and what they ate, and what ate them. They had also named their body parts and were so proud of all that they had found out. They couldn't wait to show their parents later as well. It would soon be time for Ellie's mum to collect her and Vishnu and take them back home, although there was still time for more play on the swings, and for Mags to be dragged through some muddy patches in the garden. What a great day it was proving to be.